welcome to my review of Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. I'm gonna go ahead and say it, this is one of the most underrated movies in the series. A lot of people don't like it, a lot of people love it. I'm one of the people that think it's pretty good, you know? So anyway, let's get into it. So anyway, this movie starts with the ritual of the Cult of Thorn, with Paul Rudd's dialogue over the movie. Let's talk about it. So, I'm a big fan of horror movies. I like horror movies. Not a lot of them scare me, though. You know what? You want to know what does scare me? I'll be completely honest with you. Satanic cults. Like human sacrifices, rituals, that kind of thing is the stuff that really kind of gets under my skin. Just a little bonding moment between me and my audience. So yeah, the idea of Michael being controlled by satanic, well, it's a pagan, Celtic, but same difference, I guess, cult, it's not a bad idea. It's just not a Halloween idea. It's not what Michael Myers is. It's not a bad idea on its own of a cult using a serial killer and all that. But it's just not a Michael Myers idea, in my opinion. But the cult, with like the candles and the robes, and it's all pretty creepy. So I like that element. The Myers in this movie is actually rather scary. His kills are pretty brutal. The way he walks, the way he moves. It does look like he's got a bit of a belly. But other than that, he looks pretty good. The theme in this movie of, the sort of rock and roll theme, is actually, quite good. It's sort of updated John Carpenter theme. I enjoy that part. The chase in this movie, of through the gas station and other chases are really good, especially with Jamie and the baby in the bus stop bathroom. Gee, that's an out of context quote for you. And yeah, the chases in this movie are pretty good. But the kills and the brutality in this movie, where he shoves a spike into somebody's head, or when there's like a piece of farm equipment that Jamie gets stuck on and he turns it on and she's like being disemboweled. It's really cool. It's really brutal, really bloody, but really good kills, really inventive, really creative kills. The reason I like kills so much and what you can do with them is it takes a lot to make creative kills. If it's all stabbings and shootings and scream, then you kind of lose variety and creativity, and it just becomes the same thing over and over. But this movie does have a lot to offer in the realm of killing. This movie probably has the best fall atmosphere in the entire series. I'm not joking. It's all orange, leaves cover the ground. It's gray. It really feels like a small town in fall. Probably even more than the original. So yeah, I really enjoy that part. The small town fall atmosphere is really heavy in this movie. I cannot commend this enough for its fall atmosphere of the leaves on the trees and on the ground. It's really good. Loomis in this movie, he's good. He's kind of like a crotchety old man in this. Not that that's bad, but it just kind of seems, you know, he's just not what he used to be. I suppose the shots in this are pretty good. The way, like, where Michael walks across the street in thunder, or the shadows, sort of. All of that's really good. Smith's Grove, the way it looks as a hospital, where it's just these long, empty halls, silent. We've never actually seen Smith's Grove Hospital in the series. This would be the first time. And it looks really good. And no, I'm not talking about the TV version of the first one. This is the definitive version of the, of the first time we're seeing Smith's Grove. And yeah, it looks really good. The set design is really good for it. And the mask. They finally got the mask right. Thank God. It's refreshing. It doesn't look completely like the first one, but it's close enough, it's good enough, and I really like it. The hair is a little wonky, and sometimes it looks like he's smiling, but other than that, the way the person wears it and the way it looks really good. And the idea of Michael taking this big knife and, like, killing, like, an entire room of doctors. You know, you can't see it because it's all in strobe lights, but Michael, like, you know. Oh, yeah, also the chase scene between the Myers house and the other house is really good. You know, with Michael walking and everything like that. But Michael taking out an entire room of doctors, like Kingsman style, or like in Kill Bill. I wish we actually could have seen something like that, but I guess it would take away from Myers' mystique. And it's time for the mixed. Paul Rudd, I don't think he's as bad as everybody says in this movie, but I also don't think he's as good. Paul Rudd is just in the middle. Some of his line deliveries are really bad, like, the baby, where's the baby? And the way he looks at things, like, his eyes, his everything, it's a fine performance, I guess. It's not great, but it's fine. And that's what the mixed category is for. The editing, I hate the editing in this movie. It's just so jarring. You know, I love jarring editing, like, for a good example, Oliver Stone's JFK. But in this movie, everything's so loud, and it just plays different things, and it's just so, like, in your face, and it just makes you get a headache. So, yeah, I think the editing is probably a big minus for me. But anyway, like I talked about in my last review, the idea that the cult of Thorn and the Man in Black is controlling Michael Myers. No. It's just a matter of, like, Michael Myers controls. He doesn't get controlled. So that, and having that sort of be implied is just kind of disrespectful to me, to the series and what John Carpenter has created. Barry Sims. Ain't no Halloween movie complete without a proxy Howard Stern character, right? Right? He talks really weird, he says really weird lines, he just kind of seems like a douche throughout the entire run of this. Yeah, I just don't really like his character. A lot of people might, but I don't. The baby. I don't need to tell you why this is wrong, but once I tell you, you'll know. Jamie Lloyd, a 15-year-old, has a baby, and it's heavily implied in the, I don't know if it's the producer or the theatrical cut. It's implied that it's Michael Myers' baby. I shouldn't even have to say why that's wrong. The idea of the boogeyman raping his niece. In the other cut, it says that, like, they genetically created the babies, which is too science fiction. Why did it have to be her baby? Why was that the only other alternative? I don't even want to picture Michael Myers having sex. But his niece? Are you kidding me? What's next? Killing off Jamie, in my opinion, was a really bad decision. She's such a good Halloween character, but seeing as though she's not played by the same person probably was a better idea. But at least she went out with a bang and one of the coolest kills of the series. So, every thorn has its rose, as an opposite of what I say. Every rose has its thorn. So yeah, I was sad to see her die, but she's not Danielle Harris in this movie, so it just wouldn't have been worth it. The Myers house. The Myers house doesn't. It sort of, kind of, maybe looks like the one from the original, but not really. It's got like a weird porch type thing. It doesn't look anything like it did in the first movie. It's got a balcony. I don't understand why it's so hard to find a house that looks like it. The freaking Myers house was an abandoned house when they were filming it. How hard is it, guys? Anyway, the dad, I don't know how I feel about the dad. He's just an irredeemable jerk for the entire movie. When you're dealing with things like... This movie deals with weird things like child rape and domestic abuse, which... Why does it have to be in a Michael Myers movie? We come here for gore, for kills, for the shape, not for freaking an episode of Dawson's Creek. And the dad, he doesn't act like... He's just the stereotypical alcoholic, abusive dad. And it also kind of perpetuates the idea of this is what domestic abuse is, when domestic abuse can actually be a lot of different things. But, when people think of domestic abuse, they think of literally this dad who hits his daughter at breakfast, who yells at his family. I hate the dad, and maybe you're supposed to. Maybe you're supposed to want to hear him die, or see him die. But it leads to a pretty cool kill of him being electrocuted. So yeah, I can commend it for that. The characters in this movie, like Karen's friends, are just... Their lines are dumb. They're like in the last movie, they feel like stock characters. They feel like they're there to die. And at least at least the other movies can kind of cover up that with at least making you kind of feel for them. This movie doesn't even try. They just feel like a 50-year-old writing what a teenager would say. It's just... Teenagers don't talk like that. They don't. I can give you first-hand knowledge. The thorn thing, like I said, the Curse of Thorn being like this ancient pagan ritual religion where the thorn is a constellation in the sky, means evil. One person from every tribe had to kill off their entire bloodline. It's just so convoluted. I mean, Paul Rudd has this like 18-minute long speech about what Thorn is. Why couldn't it just be Michael Myers kills because he's a ruthless, emotionless killer? Why does it have to be some old pagan bullcrap? And this movie tries to give him human motivation, which every movie has tried to, when that really was never the point. And the MIB reveal, Men in Black, or the Man in Black, being Dr. Wynn. You remember him, right? I mean, he was in that one scene in the original. Of course you remember him. I mean, you did hear his name in the fourth movie. You did. I think you saw him in the fifth movie. And it's revealed that he taught Michael to drive. He orchestrated all of his killings. Sure, man. I guess. I can't stop you, I suppose. I can't stop movie makers who made stupid movies 20 years ago to be any more, to stop doing what they're doing, because it's already done. But this movie, there's some things about it that I don't like, I don't think should have been in this movie, and if they hadn't been there, I probably would have been a lot nicer with this movie. I really enjoyed this movie, in fact. I think it's a good movie. But there's some things in it that really just make my blood boil. And the end of this is really weird, no matter how you slice it. In one cut, get it? Slice, cut. But in one cut, so Loomis goes back in, and then you hear him scream as you see Michael's mask on the floor. Was this supposed to be Michael's death? Because all that Paul Rudd did was inject him with corrosive liquid and then beat him with a lead pipe. So in that regard, it's stupid, and all you hear is Loomis screaming. And this Loomis does, or Donald Pleasance dying, God rest his soul, deserved to be in a better movie. That sounds really harsh, and I revoke that statement. But it's so sad to hear his last screams of his last lines of any movie. And in the other cut, it turns out that Michael Myers switched clothes with Wynn and then ran out. And then Loomis got the Thorn tattoo on his wrist. Either of those is stupid. And they're unnecessary. And they're just bad. This movie is so good, I think it just deserved a better ending. But yeah, I think that's about it. But anyway, guys, this is one of the better Halloween movies in the entire franchise. I highly recommend it as a watch this October. And this being the last movie by Donald Pleasance. Donald, we miss you, man. You were a great actor. We really wish you were still here to make awesome Halloween movies. Rest in peace. I give this movie a 3.5 out of 5.